It is important to know the pitfalls of the neurological tests in order to avoid mistakes during the examinations. Above all, this relates to the tuning fork test. If, for example, the tuning fork is struck too lightly, no adequate vibration is generated, and the result cannot be evaluated. Furthermore, the tuning fork has to be held at the end in order to enable an adequate vibration. And ultimately, it is important to note the age-dependent standard values and thresholds, as otherwise the examination cannot be evaluated correctly. Moreover, it is also important here to consider where the examinations are to be carried out. For example, at the intraphalangeal joint of the big toe, different standard values apply compared to other measurement locations. For the examination of reflexes, it is important to know whether the reflex hammer is large enough to trigger an adequate oscillation and to transmit an adequate force. Moreover, it is important to ensure that the monofilament is exchanged early enough, as it is usually the case that after 100 examinations, the monofilament can bend and can, therefore, no longer be used. For reasons of standardization, it is also important to use validated scores during the examination, such as the Neuropathy Disability Score, as otherwise the result will be that everyone has his or her private neuropathy diagnosis, so to speak, and there is then obviously no standardization. Furthermore, it is also true that not every pain in people with diabetes is a neuropathic pain. There is also so-called nociceptive pain, which can be caused by injuries to an organ or the skin where nociceptors are excited. But this needs to be distinguished here. Neuropathic pain is typically characterized by pain that is described as burning, stabbing, or a shooting sensation, and which is therefore different than nociceptive pain. In addition, there are symptoms such as numbness, paresthesias, or dysesthesias, which also are indicative for neuropathic pain. Finally, not every neuropathy is a diabetic neuropathy. There are numerous other causes, at least 200, of which not all are possible to discriminate. However, the most important ones are, for example, chronic alcohol abuse or renal insufficiency. Further, there are monoclonal gammopathies that can cause neuropathies. It is also important to distinguish a vitamin B12 deficiency, and ultimately there is a whole range of medications that can trigger neuropathy. These include chemotherapeutics, for example. I would like to appeal to you not to underestimate diabetic neuropathy, because only by means of a timely diagnosis of the neuropathy will it be possible to ultimately avoid the dreaded complications or initiate an adequate therapy.